So after that thrilling men's singles, we turn our attention to mixed doubles, and there's home interest in 3 of our next 4 matches. And of course the home interest in the mixed doubles is Anders Rasmussen and Lina Kjaersfeldt up against the reigning world and Olympic champions Tontowi, Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir, who have been in 4 finals here at the Denmark Open. 4 consecutive finals actually, 2012 to 2015. Well, with mixed doubles, our next match-up, chance for us to have a look at the mixed doubles draw, and I can tell you that this is the only match that has not decided a quarter-final place. All other 7 quarter-finals have been determined. This is the bottom half of the draw, and the big upset here is that the number 2 seeds Lu Kai and Wang Yaxiong, winners of 3 Super Series tournament titles this year from 4 Super Series finals, have been beaten by the European bronze medalists Ronan Labar and Audrey Fontaine. Well, you can see that Zhang Nang and Li Wei are already through, but who will they play? Will it be the Danes Rasmussen and Kjaersfeldt, or Tontowi, Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir?
On court number 1, mixed doubles, please welcome the Olympic champions and double world champions from Indonesia, Tontowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir.
The reigning world and Olympic champions, Tontowi, Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir.
And their opponents are a new constellation from Denmark. Please welcome Anders Rasmussen and Lina Hojmark Kjaersfeldt.
Anders Rasmussen and Lina Kjaersfeldt in only their 3rd ever tournament together. The Danish combination formed their partnership last month at the Korean Super Series and played the following week in Tokyo at the Japan Open. Both of those tournaments they lost in the very first round. So for the Danes, well, some may be surprised by this Danish combination because Lina Kjaersfeldt is an excellent women's singles player, and Anders Rasmussen, a wonderful men's doubles player, especially with Kim Astrup, reached number 9 in the world ranking, that men's doubles pair. But they lost earlier today to the number 4 seeds, Komura and Sonoda. So as far as Rasmussen is concerned, he can put all his energy into this mixed doubles now. Lina Kjaersfeldt also lost her singles yesterday, so this their only chance to progress. Well, Rasmussen actually is a very good mixed doubles player, although he hasn't been playing of late because he's been concentrating on his men's doubles with Kim Astrup. But he's actually been in a total of 9 tournament finals in the mixed doubles discipline, winning 7 of them with 3 different partners. So Rasmussen is 28 years of age, from Oda, which is just south of Aarhus on the east coast of the Jutland Peninsula. He has been as high as 29, you can see there, in the mixed doubles discipline. And as far as his partner is concerned, she's 23 years of age, from Aarhus. And she recently has been playing some mixed doubles with Rasmussen's men's doubles partner, Kim Astrup, with whom she reached 32 in the world ranking. Well, I was hoping we were going to see their previous match, but let's look at Tontowi Ahmad first of all. 30-year-old from Banyumas in southwest of central Java. And he and his partner, Liliyana Natsir, who turned 32 last month, were born in Manado, right in the north of North Sulawesi. They, as a combination, have spent a total of 101 weeks as world number 2s, but they're currently number 4. And she is a former world number 1 with former partner Nova Widianto, with whom she won another 2 world titles, or 2 previous world titles, I should say, before the 2 world titles with her partner of today. So their first match was against M2-XD and Janine Maestrom of Finland. 25 minutes only for that victory. I can tell you that Rasmussen and Kjaersfeldt beat another new pair, Dichapon Puavaranukro and Utita Supajirakan of Thailand. There you go. They needed 3 games for that. And the reason that that Thailand pair is a new combination is because, sadly, Sapsari Terattanachai injured her left knee in the final of the Southeast Asian Games, women's doubles, having already won the mixed doubles with Dichapon. She underwent surgery last month, and we all wish her well for a speedy recovery. Well, this is not surprising that it is the first meeting between these 2 pairs. In fact, that's the only possibility, because Ahmad and Natsir didn't play in Korea and Japan, which is the only 2 tournaments that the Danes have played previously.
There's a twist to that, because the Danes feel that they're 2-0 up because they have both beaten Ahmad and Natsir, but with another partner, Kjaersfeldt with Kim Astrup and Anna Skaarup with Maiken Foregaard, just ahead of the Olympics. So they're going into this with confidence. Let's see if that holds up throughout the match.
Jan Andersson of Sweden is our umpire for this. Fine Datan of India, the service judge.
Ready? Anders, ready? Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Anders Skaarup, Rasmussen, Line Hojmark, Kjaersfeldt, Denmark.
Little Swedish pronunciation of the Kjaersfeldt.
Ahmad, Liliyana Natsir, Indonesia. Anders Skaarup, Rasmussen to serve 2. Liliyana Natsir. Love all. Play.
So the new partnership of Anders Rasmussen and Helena Kjaersfeldt getting this second round match underway. Well, Steen, perhaps you can give us the inside scoop as to why this new mixed doubles partnership from Denmark, when quite clearly Anders Rasmussen has chosen in the recent past just to concentrate very heavily on his men's doubles.
Service over.
Yeah, I think the reason is that the Danish mixed doubles department is under a bit of a reshuffle following the World Championship. They are sort of trying to find out who is going to be the Danish participants at the Olympics in 2020, and in that process they've found that Joachim Fischer and Christina Pedersen, they didn't want to continue with that pair. We know that Joachim Fischer broke his ankle at the World Championships, and they didn't feel that Joachim was relevant for the Olympics, felt that he might be too old at that time. He turned 38 in some time here, and therefore reshuffled it, made a new partnership with Christina Pedersen and Mathias Christiansen. Mathias's partner, Sara Tugersen, got back to her old partner, Niklas Knorr, and then I think they wanted to see Kjaersfeldt a little bit more in the mix, because she's got some really, really good skills in all 3 categories of the game. Seeing also if it could take a little bit of the pressure off her in the women's singles. The reason it was Anna Skaarup instead of Kim Astrup was that it's been the perception that Kim would not be able to cope with the physicality of playing 2 categories. He's got to take care of his body.
Yeah, and he's had a back injury, hasn't he? So I can understand the logic of that. Yes, just picking up on your point about Lina Kjaersfeldt, because Oh, she's a wonderful and a rarity nowadays in the world of badminton, able to play all three disciplines. She medalled in all three disciplines at the European Junior Championships. Gold in mixed doubles with Kjaersfeldt, bronze in the girls' doubles, and silver in the women's singles. Two different European Junior Championships, and in international competition, she has been in finals at the senior level in all three disciplines. That's remarkable.
Got a bronze at the World Junior Championships in women's doubles in 2010. Yeah. So the only one I can think of that sort of surpasses that is Natsir, the injured Thai player.
6-3.
Yeah, who's won Grand Prix gold events in all three disciplines.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It also means that in terms of skills, Kjaersfeldt is probably, she's a really good net player, got a good read of the game, but she can also play from the back court. So we can see that she might be taking up the challenge if the Danes succeed in getting the attack. She might be at the back court smashing for 3, 4, 5 shots.
8-3.
Well, I suppose the question mark in both of our minds, Steen, is Liliyana Natsir's right knee.
Yeah. She's been struggling with that for, well, 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that too much?
I think that's a little much.
5-8.
1.5 years up.
I think she was fully fit at the Olympics, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. I also managed to win the World Championships in Glasgow.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yes, well played.
And I mean, there's no mystery to the tactical game plan on any sides. I mean, for the Indonesians, get the attack, let Ahmad work from above the tape and be patient enough and set it up for Natsir to kill it, and for the Danes, of course, trying to get Natsir away from the net.
Anders. Okay.
And get the attack themselves.
Service fault call.
Struck above the waist. Says fine, Datan.
Service over. 9-6. Service over. 7-9. Service over. 10-7.
Vita Marissa. Indonesian coach. Yeah, that was well long. So to the mid-game interval. The number 3 seeds with a 4-point advantage. Just 7 minutes into the match.
Vi begynder at tage noget initiativ her. Vi skal ikke stå og vente på, hvad de kommer med. Super ryg op på hegnet, super udfordrer. op og spil. Du ved, hun lægger den tilbage ind over hovedet på dig, eller lige prøver at vinkle den op. Og så bare med på den, og så får du lagt forbi. Ja, ja, vi står for langt tilbage. Ikke? Ja. Og specielt når vi får følelse, pas på det med. Find hullerne. Gå efter hullerne. Der er hul over i den forhåndsside hver gang herovre. Den korte forhånd her, der er hul. Man kan sige, og hvis den skal væk, så meget højde på som muligt, og længde på som muligt, selvfølgelig.
Får du en enkelt gang i hans round ahead? Ja. Slår det der
Men pas på vinden derude. Man kan sige, hvis du river, så brug vinden til at rive den helt krydslang. Så kan du godt trykke til den.
Terus kalau bola nih Wi lagi di belakang, lu bener lu ngolah satu-satu, tapi waktunya lu kencangin cepet harus tetap ada. Ya, lu satu-satu nggak apa-apa, tapi kalau lu lagi enak lu tetap harus gitik ceweknya harus gitu. Ya. Terus
di sini ngadu aja ya?
Ya kalau lu lagi di sini udah di bawah banget tuh mau ngangkat tinggi sekalian, kalau enggak lu
Oh, it was a lovely cross-court shot from Tontowi Ahmad.
12-7.
That one there. Super play. What was the instruction there, or the advice from...
Yeah, it was that they could not stand there waiting. They had to make a move, and especially Lina should move forward to the net. There was some things about the defense that they would play high and as long as they could. But right now the Danes are struggling and the Indonesians are controlling everything.
Well, tried to intercept and get involved at the front of the court, take a bit of pace out.
Yeah, and this is one of the problems practicing singles and playing mixed doubles, that she's only practicing mixed as an extra.
Yeah.
And the reactions on the front court, I mean, you have to be quicker on this Premier Super Series level. You have to be ready with the racket. And I mean, the Indonesians, they're doing a really, really good job of... they've played true to their game plan ever since they started playing together, and they just do it so well. Ahmad has become a much more patient player, in my opinion, much better at keeping the control of the rallies and moving forward to the front court, still maintaining the initiative. And I don't see the Danes winning from the defensive position or below the tape. That's just not going to happen.
Yes.
10-14. Service over. 15-10.
Good rally. Very good rally. And Coach Thomas Stangor will be pleased with that, I'm sure.
11-16.
A little more proactive in that rally, the Danes. was a very good flick serve too.
Yeah.
16. Thirteen, 16.
Well, there's somebody just sitting to the left of us that's got the light on their mobile phone, distracting the players.
Service over.
Great play by Natsir there to get out of that position on the back court.
She has had an extraordinary career, hasn't she? Having 4 world titles, Olympic gold, Olympic silver, world #1 with Nova Widianto. Total of 82 tournament finals, 77 of those in the mixed doubles discipline.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
Play.
Too much pressure.
18,
Forcing the
13.
error from Rasmussen.
Out.
Oh, service error.
It's over. 14, 18.
Yeah, did well to leave that. That was just a fraction short.
Service over. 19, 14. Service over.
Serving well, Ahmad,
15,
because
19.
the Danes, they can't really put it below the tape, so really accurate services, but they survived this one. Good smash again from Natsir, because she gets Ahmad activated. The Danes, they know that they have to lift a second time to her as well. She just smashes so precise and with such good placement that it's not possible.
Game point opportunities. Oh, good return of serve. Very good return of serve. They absolutely pounced on that.
16, 20.
Wow.
Game.
What an interception from Tontowi Ahmad.
First
And
game
the
won
opening
by
game?
Tontowi Ahmad, Liliyana Natsir, 21-16.
Umpire confirms 21-16. Little over 16 minutes for that opening game.
Ja, det er fint. Og når lige da vi starter, jeg ved godt, det var svært. Bare hold den langt ned, den serve, og jeg ved godt, det måske ikke er nogen betydning, om man bliver dømt eller ej. Og så give noget højde på den svip, og så stiller os klar, og så hive den ned til hende igen.
Han er klar.
Han er, men ja. Og så tænk på, når du modtager, helt op, hold helt kort. Den der, hvor vi skubber den ud af i siden, det er no-go. Hvis hun ikke kommer ind inden, og står han lige bag.
Boldmelder hans baghånd. Han er meget bedre i forhånd.
Ja, men de hejser ingenting på os. De hejser kun, hvis de er mega under pres. Ellers så kæmper han, og som vi snakker om inden, han er ikke bange for at trykke op af, selvom han står her. Han vil hellere have en slåskamp, hvor han står i defensiven, end han vil have et højt oplæg.
Jeg tror, vi tænker i hver sag, at vi skal spille udenom. Vi skal bare, vi skal spille.
Ja.
Det er jo ikke sådan, der er guld hver gang de rører, men det bliver sådan noget forsigtigt noget.
Husk nu, det der kort foran Jørgen, der kan vi lægge af til. for begge to, ikke?
Præcis.
Og så når vi er inde i det der, vi skal ikke vende den for hurtigt. Spil nu den gang en ekstra ned. Du kan fandme hejse fra nu af til juleaften. Så giv dem noget luft ned til hende igen. Og til ham også.
Fremad også.
Ja, vi er fint med. Vi kan spille bedre, men vi er fint med. Ikke? Og vi skal bruge den swipserve. Der er ikke så meget der. Ned med den, og så brug den på den.
Kadang lu nyabet-nyabet bolanya kayaknya enak nih, Wi. Lu nyabet-nyabet gitu dianya lebih enak. Tetap mau, tetap nyabet-nyabet, tetap mending halus-halus sedikit juga. Terus kalau pembukaan asal masuknya ngenet juga nggak apa-apa kali. Kalau dia udah nungguin nyodok nih, kalau nanggung lu enak lu sodok. Tapi kalau enggak lu net aja di depan ceweknya lagi. Paling gitu doang ya. Bagus sih mainnya kalem gitu enak kok. Ya.
So the coaches have had their say. Thomas Skaarup and Vita Marissa.
Labor. Play.
So the Indonesians, one game to the good, 21-16, that opening game. Interesting dynamics, really, because Vita Marissa is a former women's doubles partner of Liliyana Natsir. Actually reached 5 tournament finals together. 3 of them Super Series.
They won a women's doubles title in China.
That's right, the China Masters of 2007. Indonesian Open 2008 and beaten in the final of the 2008 Super Series finals.
Love.
Oh, look at that.
Great play.
Yeah.
3 love.
That was what Thomas Skaarup told the Danes. They're not going to lift. They'd rather try something in the flat, rather go into a dogfight in the flat game than lift. They only lift if they're absolutely forced to it.
Service over. Jump 3.
And the first point we were talking about, as we see this missed smash from Ahmad, was that they were going to continue flicking Natsir. They were just going to give it a little bit more height so that hopefully for the Danes that Ahmad couldn't intercept.
Service over.
That was not a flick, that one.
4-1. Service over. 2-4.
His first service error of the match, the second as far as the Indonesians are concerned.
Over. 5-3.
Excellent play again by Ahmad. Of course, Indonesians know that Kjaersfeldt is also playing women's singles, and therefore their assumption is that she's probably weaker in defense than an all-double female player would be, because she doesn't practice that kind of doubles defense every day.
No.
4-6.
Well, that's probably the worst serve I think I've ever seen Liliyana Natsir play. Just has this uncanny ability to always be in the right place at the right time, Liliyana Natsir, when she's at the front of the court.
Yeah.
Reads the game quite beautifully.
Service over. 5-7.
It's what you call a perfect return of serve.
The Danes, they have to realize now that it doesn't matter whether they can defend the first smash. If they're defending like this, then they're just going to lose on the third or fourth smash. They have to take a step forward and sort of play all or nothing on the first return, because they have to change it or turn the defense around on the first smash. Otherwise, it's just a late, they're prolonging the inevitable.
9-5.
So when you say take a chance, do you mean step in or try and do something with it? Block it or drive it?
Yeah, block it or drive it.
Yeah.
Block it or drive it. And they're on the side where they can probably lift a little bit more flat. It's dangerous because Ahmad can jump into it, but they one game down, 9-5 behind. And I guess what Victor Marisa said to the Indonesians between the first and the second game was, you're playing well, this is all going to go our way. Take it easy. Keep on going. So the Danes got to do something to
Tontowi. He's receiving, yes.
to stop that.
Oh, that's going wide, yeah.
Service over. 10-6. Service over. 7-10.
And a lot of players would be inclined to try a short service now, because Natsir has dealt well with the long,
8-10.
Yeah, he does very, very well about protecting Liliyana Natsir when she's been forced to play at the back. Now, Tontowi Ahmad absolutely determined to take the next
En
shot.
kort serv, dæk den kort af. Hvis den kommer ned til Anders, ned til hende med den. Ikke? Men du må godt begynde også at lede efter lidt huller på nettet. Sådan, fordi vi er også svært med bare at stå i det hele tiden her.
Jamen, det vinder sådan, selvom det kommer ind, for jeg har virkelig svært ved at komme ud af det. Jeg kan ikke.
Men stop det. Jeg ved godt, det er svært.
chance, der står hun ind mod midten, og så ser man kan...
Og man kan sige, de der halve, du har, du må ikke slå dig ud af position. Så må du prøve at se, om vi kan slå et drop et sted hen, hvor vi kan bygge op. Se, hvor hun står, og så vinkle den over den anden side. Jeg siger, den er lidt svær, og den er lidt svær, den kort foran nu her på grund af vinden, ikke? Ikke ser ud af i den side, vel? Kom så her.
Ya. Kelihatan banget kadang biar fokusnya arahan-arahannya dulu dan ngilang terus sikat ke cowoknya lagi. Ya, tetap konsen aja, jaga di situnya doang. Ya, dari servis 5 servis. Gitu aja, kalau nggak enak, Wi, posisi lu susah, pokoknya buka aja. Jangan maksa banget. Fokus aja yang penting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
12-8.
She's just so good at turning the defense around, Natsir. With that,
Now that's the sort of thing you want the Danes to do.
yeah. That shot there is just so perfect, because it changes the defense to attack immediately.
Yeah, that was pretty special too, that cross-court net shot. What was Thomas saying to the Danes in that interval?
Yeah, it was about, again, what they were going to do when they had Natsir on the back court. And taking some chances coming forward. They can't survive the defense. It's too difficult. They're playing the attack too well, the Indonesians. That's what we've seen. That's what's won them a World Championship and the Olympic Games as well. That's the attack. That's where they're good. But the problem is that the Danes have to lift with height twice in a row to Liliyana and Natsir, and they've had trouble doing that.
Oh, there she is again.
And when you let her in on the net, it's really, really difficult to get it away from her again, unless you have to lift. And there's Ahmad.
Yeah.
And he's just really, really good at maintaining the attack.
Challenge here. First challenge of the match.
Rasmussen, Kjaersfeldt, challenge. Line call, out.
Hawkeye asked to adjudicate for us.
Yeah, that was clearly a wide. It was not. It was a tactical challenge. I mean, the Danes could easily see that. We've seen it a number of times, and I'm not really sure what to do about it. That challenges are being used as interruptions.
Yeah. Well, some of the lights have gone out here on number 1 court, so there's going to be a delay in proceedings until that is sorted. Jan Andersson calls for the tournament referee. When the umpire raises his right arm, that's an indication for the tournament referee. When he raises his left arm, that's an indication for Hawkeye that a challenge has been made. Yep, they're all pointing to the lights.
Play suspended.
Play is suspended.
Yeah.
Yep. Until the lights are fixed.
Tontowi.
So I'm not quite sure how long this is going to take, Steen, but it's a chance for us to talk about things that have happened in the Super Series. This is the 9th Super Series of the year. And in men's singles, we had an extraordinary situation where 4 consecutive finals were featured unseeded players. And that was between Singapore and Korea. That was extraordinary. Both finalists unseeded. A sign of that perhaps the seeded players are beginning to struggle more and the youngsters are coming up. Can we read anything into that?
We can read many things, but that we might read wrong. There's this, that it's a very even men's single. I'm not really buying that, but if we're... One of the other things that I was reading into it was that a lot of players were focusing on the World Championships before and after the World Championships, and but it's nice, no matter what the reason is, that we have this sort of diversity in players reaching the finals, and it increases the players that have hopes of reaching the final. And we're going to see a young Dane with a lot of self-confidence later today. And he said,
right.
I hope I'm going to meet someone who, because he's the top seed, and it's been a while since I've met some of the good players.
Wow, that's a great attitude.
That's, give me something, give me a challenge. I might lose, but I want the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
We ought to mention, of course, in men's singles as well, that we've had 2 same nation finals. First time ever we had 2 Indian players, and that's relevant because we've just seen Prannoy beating Chong Wei. That was in the final of the Singapore when Sai Praneeth beat Shrikant Kidambi. Then in Korea, for only the 2nd time in the history of the Super Series, and this is the 11th year, we had 2 Indonesian players playing against each other, Anthony Ginting and Jonathan Christie.
And very, very good for badminton that the Indonesian men's singles on its way up. There's been a long period where we haven't really heard that much from Indonesian men's singles in terms of Super Series victory. There have been Super Series victories. It's just been on a lower level. This is the youngsters coming up now instead of the old guys, Tommy Sugiato and Sonny Concoro.
Yeah. Well, as far as mixed doubles is concerned, as we've got mixed doubles that play has been suspended in, we had first-time winners at the last of the Super Series events, the Japan Open, with Wang Yilu and Wang Dongping winning their first Super Series title in their second final in 2 weeks, having been beaten in the final of Korea. But I think the beaten finalists in Japan, I think it's the first time ever we've had a pair that's been promoted from the reserves, come through the qualifying to reach the final of a Super Series. Huki and Hirota of Japan, and only the second ever pair from Japan to contest a mixed doubles Super Series final.
And we've seen it that the Japanese, they're also searching, like Denmark, for mixed doubles pairings that are sort of in the mix for their home Olympics in 2020. We saw that in this tournament here, that some of their strong women's doubles players are starting to play mixed with some of the younger Japanese male doubles players coming forward.
Yeah, it's exciting times, and it's extraordinary that, you know, as you've alluded to, that, you know, mixed doubles is the only discipline where Japan haven't really excelled in recent times.
I mention it every time I meet Park.
Park Ju-bong, the head coach of the Japanese team.
And perhaps the greatest mixed doubles player ever.
Of all time, exactly. 3 times world champion he was when he was representing Korea. Now there's the tournament referee, Pencho Stoyanov from Bulgaria. I'm not quite sure what they are suggesting.
I think Natsir is asking whether they can play on the adjacent court.
Which, no, we can't, because our television cameras aren't on the adjacent court, so we've got to probably switch the lights off and reboot them. I'm not sure if that's possible, but...
No, and it's not all the lights that's gone. And the ones that hasn't gone, they're still on.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is disruptive for the players. It's not good enough playing.
It is, and I think that just like the Danes in the match, I think the lighting engineer has to try something.
Yeah. Indeed.
So, but it's also interesting with this Danish combination here. Line Kjaersfeldt, should she opt for only women's singles? Should she opt for only doubles or categories, both categories, or should she opt for mixed doubles? And what about Anders Rasmussen with his men's doubles? Him and Kim Astrup are quite high on the ranking. And where's Joachim Fischer in all of this? Fortunately, Joachim Fischer is recovering very well, but there's been a lot of discussions about he was not satisfied with the way he was told that he couldn't play with Christina Pedersen anymore. So is that a possibility if that combination here doesn't really work out in the next couple of tournaments and so on? Will he be in the mix to play with Line Kjaersfeldt? That's also interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, Danes won the title here last year, the man you've just been talking about, Joachim Fischer, with Christina Pedersen, and that, fortunately for you Danes, broke a run because there'd been a few years when Denmark hadn't won a title here at their home event, 2012, 13, 14 and 15. So 4 consecutive years where you didn't win a title and your home event.
That's a draft, and we can see some of the results here today from Danes doing well. Victor Axelsen, of course, the native of Odense here, won the World Championship, won Japan Open, and we had a totally sold out Odense Sports Park yesterday.
Yeah.
Tonight here, there's a few places around, but when Victor is playing later on tonight, it's going to be totally packed.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. And of course, Victor Axelsen has won 2 Super Series titles this year. He won the India Super Series and the last event, the Japan Open. So Victor Axelsen in great form. He's won his last 2 tournaments, the World Championships and the Japan Open. It's a very good reason why he's become world #1.
Yeah, and one of the things that were also interesting in those accomplishments is that he came into the World Championships. Now, we discussed this about the men's singles, that the unseeded players were doing well. Victor came into the World Championships playing, losing first round, losing second round, losing first round. So there's a lot of ups and downs going on in this men's singles categories. Chong Wei is losing early in the tournaments. Chen Long has still not regained the form of the Olympics and hasn't won on the Super Series level. He won the Asia Badminton Championships, but
hasn't won a Super Series, I don't think, since this event in 2015.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and of course the three-time former champion, that was the third of 3 Super Series Denmark Opens for Chen Long, the Olympic champion. And he was beaten yesterday by the 37-year-old Lee Hyun-il of Korea. So, I mean, that's extraordinary, isn't it? Because Lee Hyun-il, an independent player.
Had he been drawn against Lee Chong Wei in this tournament, or Lin Dan, if he'd not withdrawn and people were coming in and saw the program, Lee Hyun-il against Lin Dan, they would say, what is this, a time machine or what? That was done seniors back in time when they were absolutely dominant. Now they're not so dominant, but they're still here and they still have a role to play.
Yeah. Well, Lin Dan, who, as you've just mentioned, withdrew from the tournament before it started, he was the number 3 seed. And you and I were having a very interesting discussion the other day about the fact that the first time he reached the final here at the Denmark Open was 16 years ago.
16 years ago.
2001, when he lost to Bao Chun Lai.
That's amazing.
In the final. It's absolutely extraordinary. We're trying to get information as to what the technicians are doing to try and restore the lighting here. It's obviously taking a little bit of time. We all need to be a little bit patient, but it must be very, very disruptive for the players. One of the deputy referees coming on to speak to the umpire. The chief referee is also approaching. There he is. 5 minutes.
I just heard that the players declined to play on with the lighting that are on right now, and I can totally understand that.
So do I. I mean, it simply isn't good enough right now. Well, we can also talk a little bit more about the mixed doubles. There's
she's
former
taking a chair.
women's doubles partner sitting down having a chat, probably about the good old times when they used to play women's doubles together.
I mean, they could also discuss sort of, it's the Danes' backhand corner that is sort of gone totally black, and so if they could arrange that the Indonesians just don't play there, then it would be a very even match, I think.
Well, as far as the mixed doubles draw is concerned, I was telling you that this is the only second round match to be completed, yet to be completed. So we know the other 7 quarter-finalists. And in the top half of the draw, 3 seeded pairs beaten. The Malaysians, number 7 seeds, Tan Kiang Ming and Lai Pei Jing, lost in the first round to So Sung Jae and Kim Ha Na. And Chris and Gabby Adcock, the bronze medalists from the World Championships, the 3rd consecutive Super Series tournament where they've lost in the first round, the European champions.
And there was the Japanese pairings that are sort of gunning for Olympic place, I suspect, at least one of them challenging for it.
Absolutely. That Japanese pair we're talking about is Yugo Kobayashi and Misaki Matsutomo. Misaki Matsutomo, I think, has just gone out in the women's doubles. They were defending champions, Matsutomo and Takahashi. I think they went out to a young Korean pair. It was the other end of the hall, and I wasn't really paying full attention to that. But it does mean, of course, now that the only defending champion left in the tournament is the player that we are going to see a little later on in the women's singles, Kane Yamaguchi. The only defending champion.
There's been a lot of surprises in this year's Denmark Open, and we're only one 3/4 of a day into the tournament, and the favorites have just been sort of evacuating the tournament.
Yes, well, in the women's singles, of course, we lost the Olympic gold medalist and the Olympic silver medalist in the very first round. And of course, that was Carolina Marin, lost out to Saina Nehwal, who won the title here in 2012. And Pusala Venkata-Sindhu, who was beaten finalist here a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, in a repeat of the World Championship bronze medal, not bronze medal match, semi-final match, lost to the reigning World Junior Champion Chen Yufei, reigning World Junior Champion until Sunday.
Until Sunday, yeah. And in women's doubles, the Danish home favorites, Camilla Richard-Juhl and Christina Pedersen, they were in really dire straits early on today against the European pair of the Stoeva sisters from Bulgaria, and had to save 3 match points.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, almost impossible to predict this tournament here.
Yeah. And it's not as if playing conditions, I know we've talked about the drift steam, but the drift isn't that bad. I mean, we've played in stadiums recently where the drift has had a huge effect on the match, and I don't believe that's the case here. There is a drift, but there's going to be a drift in every big stadium. And this is a relatively small stadium.
And that's what's a little surprising. I can't imagine how has this drift sort of created itself. There has been no drift almost the previous years here. I don't know if they've got the ventilation system going, because there's so many spectators in the hall from the beginning of the tournament. So it's really puzzling. Might also be the fast shuttles, very, very fast shuttles. There's no doubt about that.
I also wonder how, you know, results, strange results, affect all players. In that,
creates uncertainty.
Yes, because it's not just within the same discipline, it's also uncertainty across the board. And you know, we were talking in the first of our matches about Lee Chong Wei losing to Brice Levedes in the first round of the World Championships. All of a sudden, Lee Chong Wei doesn't seem invincible anymore. You know, if other players then lose in other disciplines, then the younger up-and-coming players sort of all start believing that it's possible.
They want to play the top players, because they feel that now we can really get a piece of them here. We've got a chance, and we're ready. And perhaps you start questioning, say, oh, there's a lot of Danes. If it's Danes, there's a lot of Danes losing early. Have we been practicing the right way? Have we been doing too much of this and too much of that? So when you lose, you tend to question all decisions leading up to that. And when you win, everything you've done previous to that is more or less genius. And putting a television on, watching some show of mental toughness or anything, that's exactly... You tend to look for either scapegoats or miracles that will help you win.
Yeah. But it's also interesting. I was reading an article in sort of the flip side to what you've just been talking about, with Lee Chong Wei has openly talked about the fact that Roger Federer in tennis, another sport, is doing so well. He's won 2 Grand Slam titles. He's just won the Shanghai Masters. He's #2 in the world at the moment. And Lee Chong Wei said, if he can come back and win, then I can.
Exactly, and I think that's we touched it earlier today. That it seems like there's some kind of rule that when players turn 30. One of the questions for the journalists is to stop them when they're going to ask them when they're going to retire, and I mean, start asking players when they retire, when they make bad results. That would be a much better idea.
Yeah.
And simply just refuse to discuss questions like that, because it, no matter whether you want it or not, it instills an attitude and some thoughts into you. If you keep getting asked, when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? I've never thought about retiring. I love playing badminton. I earn some money by it, and I love traveling the world and practicing and keeping myself in shape. I never ever thought about it, and then suddenly you instilled this thought in me and said, wow, is there other people that also think the same, that maybe I should retire? And what about my family? Maybe my family thinks I should retire. Maybe I'm a little strange if I don't retire.
Yeah.
So everything around you affects you in some way.
Yeah. But it's got to be about how the player feels inside of, you know, whether players know when the time is right, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. And my experience as coach of a number of players that have retired is that it's best for the playing level towards the end of the career that you don't tell anybody about it, that you just say, hey, coach, audience, friends, family, competitors, I've stopped now. This was my last match.
Yeah.
That's the way you conduct yourself the best, in my opinion. I've seen so many putting an end date on, and then their game starts to decline really, really fast.
Yeah.
Because they tell themselves, okay, there's no more peaks ahead of me. There's just a slide down to a retirement. And then suddenly that slide becomes really, really steep.
Yeah, well, of course, the player that did that quite brilliantly was Dane Tina Rasmussen. Tina Baum, as she became, because her last ever tournament was the All-England Championships, 2013, was it?
And I was one of the persons saying to her, hey, why are you retiring? You could continue. She said, no, I want to go out with this All-England win. That's I finish on top. That was really, really suitable and very satisfying for her. She was actually here in Odense during the qualification, coaching one of the young Danish women's singles players, Irina Amalie Andersen, who lost in the qualification final. She's now a club coach, Tine Baum, and has a number of good players in her club, doing a lot of good work with the young female players in the mixed women's and women's singles. Yeah,
well, that's good to know that she's passing on her experience to the younger players. And in fact, Tina Baum was the last and only European player to win the Denmark Open women's singles from Europe. The only one since it's become a Super Series. The Super Series started in 2007.
Yeah.
Pi Hongyang won before that in 2005, but of course it wasn't the Super Series back then.
No, and that greatly affected the strength of the tournament. This has become a much stronger tournament since it became a Super Series, let alone a Premier Super Series.
Yeah. Well, the only discipline here at the Denmark Open where there's two of the tournament referees discussing how long this is taking for the technicians to get the lights working again. The only discipline here at the Denmark Open where a European pair, let alone a Danish pair, has not won is the women's doubles. But of course there's high hopes for Christina Pedersen and Camilla Routilleux, the Olympic silver medalists.
It would be a good year to do it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And
having survived that scare earlier today,
it's highly possible. Sometimes you need to survive that scare to sort of feel that, hey, we're more or less out of the tournament, and yet we're still here.
Yeah.
We're still here.
And talking of European players, as the players here, I mean, it's awfully difficult for them. I have to say the Danes are doing the right thing by just keeping a little bit on the move, standing up rather than sitting down.
Yeah.
The last Super Series tournament, the Japan Open, was only the second time in history that two Europeans won the two singles disciplines. The only other time was two Danes at the 2008 Korean Series.
That was Peter Gade and Tina Baum.
That's right. But so for only the second time, and of course it was Victor Axelsen in Tokyo last month, and the women's singles was Carolina Marin. So European players perhaps making their mark once again.
hopefully, and hopefully it can inspire other Europeans to see that it can actually be done, that there is no rule or genetics that say, oh, Asians are born better badminton players. That's not the case, not at all. So both Victor and Carolina has shown that it can be done.
Yeah.
Definitely can be done. And coincidence is that those two, they're the same age, so they've been to the same tournaments, European under-17, European. I don't know if they've inspired each other, but we know that Victor won the World Championship in 2010, and I think perhaps that has sort of led Carolina on to believe, hey, it can be done. There's a guy that I've been seen winning tournaments while I've been winning tournaments, and suddenly he's winning the World Championships and so on. And maybe then Carolina took the driver's seat and winning World Championships, Olympic gold, and so on. And Victor says, of course, it can be done.
Yeah. Well, that just proves the point that we were discussing earlier, that different disciplines can still inspire other players. This really is taking an age, isn't it? I wonder how long it's been now. Hawkeye should be able to tell us. So both pairs just doing a little bit of stretching, just trying to keep the muscles loose. It really is very, very disruptive. There we are, 25 minutes, 35 seconds now since the last point. And talking of Europeans and Danes, I can see on the court number 3 that the former champions, Mathias Baum and Carsten Mogensen, are in a real battle with a Hong Kong pair.
And one of the troubles there is that the scoring board is not working. There's not a whole lot of things working right now here in Odense Sports Park. It's been 12-15 for the last 5 or 6 rallies, so it must be really, really close.
Well, we're not going to be able to hear the umpire from where we're sitting, so we will try and keep you informed with what's happening over there.
And now we've got the overall view here, so
yeah,
you might be able to follow it a little bit. Might even be match point.
Yeah, nearest to us as we look at it at the moment. The Danes are serving. Men's doubles, I can tell you that all 8 seeds progressed through to the second round. These are all second round matches today. Only discipline where all 8 seeds progressed. That's a little misleading because, of course, in the men's singles they only started with 7 seeds, but only 5 of those 7 seeds progressed to the second round. So as far as the light situation is concerned, there doesn't seem to be any real progress.
Still quite dark in the backhand side there.
Yeah.
Left side of the court.
Should mention that the Danes, Baum and Mogensen, have just won that match. The roar of the fans here in Odense, an indication of their victory. Won the title here 5 years ago, having first been in the final here 8 years ago. So they're the former men's doubles champions. That's Mathias Baum, his partner Carsten Mogensen. safely through a marathon match against Chin Chung and Tang Chung Man of Hong Kong. 2 left-handers. It's very unusual to have 2 left-handers.
Yeah, 21-19 in the decisive game.
So Danish fans will be very happy with that, and I'm sure Danish fans and all fans will be very happy when we finally manage to get this mixed doubles restarted. Well, I've just heard that sadly it's probably going to take another 15 minutes for the lights to be fixed, which means that we will wait for play to resume, and we will come back to you just as soon as we possibly can. But please don't go away, there's plenty more action to come. And let me just tell you what else there is to come after this mixed doubles encounter.
Yeah, and it actually also might affect, I don't know, we have to find out how it will affect the matches that are to be played later on this court here, because obviously this is going to take way too long, so...
Yeah, well, it certainly will. Well, this second match is still in progress, and of course we will rejoin just as soon as the lights are fixed. After that, we're going to have men's doubles with home interest in the European Championship bronze medalists Christiansen and Dogo. They're up against the current world number ones, Gideon and Sukamuljo, who have been in scintillating form this year, winners of 4 Super Series titles already from 5 Super Series tournament finals. After that, we will have women's singles and Zhang Bei-wen from the United States of America, fresh from winning her 3rd Dutch Open title last week. She's up against now the only defending champion left in the tournament, Akane Yamaguchi. And then we'll have a second men's singles. Song Wan-ho, the former world number 1, and beaten finalist here twice, 2014 and last year. He'll be up against the European Championship silver medalist, Anders Antonsson, the young Dane. So plenty to look forward to, but we're going to take a very short break until action can resume.
Please welcome the technical officials to court number 3.
So while we wait for this mixed doubles to get the lighting issues fixed, it's given us an opportunity to look back at the first match in this evening's session, which was men's singles. Chong Wei, the two-time former champion, against HS Prannoy. And we join it in the deciding game with Chong Wei leading 13-10. Just wide.
If I were Chong Wei right now, I would be really looking to create myself a little cushion going into the decisive rallies of this match here, because I think Prannoy is a dangerous man, having him along all the way to 18 all or something like that.
Yes, and also not only is Prannoy dangerous, but I think that the nerves will kick in with Chong Wei, because we've talked about it earlier. The confidence has not been shattered, but it's certainly been dented.
Yeah, and when you play with the drift, like Prannoy is now, you got to work extremely hard, like a maniac. And that's difficult in the second game if you don't know if there's going to be a third game. But there's definitely not going to be a fourth game, so he can use all his leftover energy now.
Yeah.
There's no holding back. Good length on that shot there.
14.
And on a run of 4 straight points, Prannoy goes into the lead. How many errors is it from Chong Wei in these last few?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4. Big errors. And mental-wise, it seems like Prannoy is more on right at the moment than Chong Wei. Like, the momentum is about to change that way.
Yeah.
$15, 13.
It's in.
Okay, this is extraordinary, isn't it?
It's a fantastic point to win for Prannoy and a terrible point to lose for Chong Wei.
16, 13.
Because it stays well in, and even though you rely on your read on the drift, then you can't help wondering that it's such a misjudgment.
There's another error from Chong Wei. 7 straight points now
13.
to Prannoy. Eight straight points to Prannoy. What on earth has happened?
And look how ready Prannoy is for that shot to his backhand side.
Yeah.
18, 13.
Oh, yeah, that's a good.
Oh, it's just long.
Service over.
Well, I thought he
14,
tricked him, but I think Chong Wei
18.
quickly judged that that was going to go long.
Good early judgment.
What a great match to.
Yeah.
What an exciting match to start the day with.
Yeah.
15, 18.
So as you can see, play has finally resumed in this mixed doubles.
16-9.
40-minute delay because of the lighting issues. Very, very difficult for the players. That's a good return of serve.
Service over. 10-17.
In fact, Liliyana Natsir thought that he was a little too quick on that return of serve.
Oh, it's like 10, yeah, but it's right here. 10-17.
Yeah, well, the scoreboard at the back of the court now is not working, so make sure you look at our graphics for the score rather than just below the graphics where you can see the scoreboard from the arena.
18-10. Service over. 11-18. Service over. 19-11. Out. Service over.
Service error there.
12-19.
That's their third. Oh yes, good defence. Now that's what Steen Pedersen was talking about a little earlier. Do something with the defence. Drive it. That was perfect.
Service over. 20, match point 13.
So match points have arrived. It'll be very interesting how this match is timed for the official timing. Oh, look at that defence. That's gone wide. First game point opportunity has come and gone.
14-20.
Oh, clever. Brilliant. What a shot to finish the match from Tontowi Ahmad. 21-16, 21-14. The scoreline in this second round encounter after a 40-minute delay.
Match won by Tontowi Ahmad, Liliyana Natsir, 21-16, 21-14.
Well, I do feel sorry for the players because that was very, very disruptive. What a super shot, though. A little bit of top spin on that. There, you could see it from Tontowi Ahmad. Well, of course, that second game was not 55 minutes. It was 15 minutes because we had that 40-minute delay. So in total, it was just under 30 minutes. But the victory nonetheless to Tontowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir.
Yay.
So what a disruptive mixed doubles that was. I can tell you that there was 29 minutes of play. It wasn't a match that lasted 71 minutes, but then I suppose in tennis with that marathon match at Wimbledon with Isner and Mahou that went on for 3 days. It was timed at 3 days. Anyway, our next match is men's doubles, and it features the European Championship bronze medalists Christiansen and Dalgaard up against the current world number ones Marcus Finaldi Gideon and Kevin Sanjaya Sukamuljo. Well, as far as the men's doubles draw is concerned, with the Indonesians being the number 2 seeds, this is obviously the bottom half of the draw, and you can see that 2 quarter-final places have been decided. Angga Pratama and Ricky Karenda Suwadi, the number 8 seeds from Indonesia, safely through, as indeed are the former world number ones Lee Chun-hui and Liu Yu-chen. So we are concentrating on that match in the bottom section of the draw there, and it is the number 2 seeds Gideon and Sukamuljo up against Christiansen and Dalgaard. Well, I can see that they're leaving the lights on this time on the number 1 court. I think that's very wise indeed. So we await for the players. Of course, the players that were waiting in the wings to come onto court in the men's doubles